Miles is a very supportive character. No matter what's going on, he always goes out of his way to help people feel better about themselves and their situations. We saw this firsthand with how he helped Gwen when she was really down after losing her best friend. She was so hurt and closed off, even promising herself that she wouldn't make any new friends. But then Miles came along and changed everything. He befriended her, and soon enough, their beautiful love story began to unfold naturally. They have such amazing chemistry together that is hard to explain. But it's not only Gwen who has benefited from Miles' kindness and support. There's also Peter B. Parker, who Miles literally saved. When we take a look at the first movie, we can see that he was a totally hopeless Spider-Man, with no real hope for the future after going through a rough divorce with his MJ. But after that Collider incident, things started to change. A bunch of Spider people were brought into Miles' universe, including Peter B. At first, Miles didn't really see him in the best light. He thought he was just some hobo-looking Spider-Man because of his disheveled appearance and seemingly lazy attitude when compared to his own universe's Spider-Man, who unfortunately died. However, despite their initial differences, Miles ended up playing a crucial role in saving his life and helping him turn things around. Their bond develops beautifully throughout the movie, and I absolutely love their dynamic as student and mentor. Even though Peter B. may not be the best mentor out there, he genuinely tries his best in his own unique way. He was feeling completely hopeless because it seemed like MJ wanted to start a family with him, but he thought it wasn't the right time. He didn't feel prepared for the responsibilities of being a father, on top of his responsibilities as Spider-Man. Additionally, I think their relationship was already strained due to the challenges that come with being Spider-Man, like not having enough time to spend with loved ones. This ultimately led to their divorce, which left him feeling depressed and lost. During his introduction, we see flashbacks and scenes of how he struggled to cope with the divorce. He became depressed, lazy, and even gained weight, things we don't typically see in a Spider-Man. It was his emotional turmoil and sense of hopelessness that caused him to become sloppy and lose sight of his purpose in life. But it's through his mentorship with Miles that he gradually rediscovers himself and finds a new sense of hope. Meeting Miles was a major turning point for him, because as they bonded, their relationship grew into something similar to that of a father and son. This made him realize that maybe he could handle being a dad after all, and that it might be worth trying to work things out with MJ following their divorce. So I have no doubt that Miles had a significant impact on his life. I believe that without him, Peter B. might not have found the strength to move forward and find hope again. Watching their interactions and dynamic unfold is truly heartwarming, humorous, and genuine. One standout moment is the running joke about Spider-Man wearing a cape. At first, Peter B. insists that Spider-Man doesn't wear a cape, but later, when they're at the HQ in the basement of that Spider-Man that died, he sees a portrait of MJ, which stirs up a lot of emotions related to their failed relationship. Miles notices his distress and cleverly uses the cape joke to lighten the mood when he spots one of the Spider-Man suits with a cape. It's a touching gesture that shows how much Miles cares about Peter B.'s feelings. Even Gwen notices this, and it's another reason she starts falling for him, recognizing what a genuinely good person he is. This scene perfectly captures the depth and growth of Peter B. and Miles' relationship, with a mix of humor and heartwarming moments that make their bond so compelling to watch. When Miles got bitten by that radioactive spider, he was totally clueless about how to handle his newfound Spider-Man powers and was feeling overwhelmed, like in that moment where all the Spider people was testing him to see if he is capable to control his spider powers. He was really struggling there, because pretty much everyone had experience in being a Spider-Man, but he didn't. There was actually a deleted scene where he has a heart-to-heart conversation with Peter B. about his doubts and insecurities.
I'm supposed to save the world, Peter.
Well, there's your problem right there. You can't think about saving the whole world. You have to think about saving one person, Miles. You just think about someone you love.
As the story goes on, their bond just keeps getting stronger. One key moment is when Miles decides to fight Kingpin and deactivate the Collider to save the multiverse and avenge his uncle's death. It's super emotional because he isn't fully prepared for this huge challenge, he hasn't mastered his powers yet. Peter B tries to test Miles to see if he's ready to join the battle, but unfortunately, he fails. However, before leaving, he shares that iconic line with him.
When will I know I'm ready?
You won't. It's a leap of faith. That's all it is, Miles. A leap of faith.
This advice ends up being crucial for Miles, as he eventually learns to control his powers and joins the fight alongside the other spider people. It's a truly awesome transformation to watch. When he finally joins the big battle, we can see how proud Peter B is of him for being able to control his powers and fight alongside them. His reaction is like that of a proud dad watching his son succeed. It's really heartwarming. Then, when it's time for the final goodbye between him and Miles, there's this powerful moment where he is still feeling pretty down about his life and is even willing to sacrifice himself to save the multiverse. But Miles steps in and inspires him to go back to his universe and work on fixing things with MJ. This act of kindness and encouragement from Miles has such a significant impact on him that at the end of the movie, we actually get to see him making an effort to patch things up with her. It just goes to show how influential Miles has been in his life and how much their friendship has meant to both of them. But in Across the Spider-Verse, things certainly took a turn, but sadly not for the best. I think we all know what happened. Miles felt totally let down by Peter B and Gwen when they didn't show up to pay him a visit. It's really complicated because they knew that his father was about to die, which was an event that was destined to happen, but still, they didn't bother telling him or even dropping by to see him. What made matters even more complicated was the discovery that he wasn't even supposed to become Spider-Man in the first place, since he wasn't meant to be bitten by that spider. It's because of all this that they decided not to visit him, despite having the opportunity to do so. Miles was completely unaware of this. He was just holding on to the hope that one day they'd finally come to visit him, which we all know it never happened. It's just heartbreaking to see him going through all this because all he wanted to do was to see his friends again. But when he finally did, it wasn't exactly what he was expecting, because he finds out the real reason why they never came to see him. With that said, there was a moment of joy before he learned the whole truth. Remember when he met Peter again after their first encounter? It was such a heartwarming scene, seeing how overjoyed he was to see Peter again. They shared a hug that really spoke volumes about their bond. He also brought his kid along, which basically meant that he'd managed to patch things up with MJ and now they are a family. It just goes to show how much of an impact he had on his life and how much of a difference he made for him. During that intense chase scene, Peter B manages to catch him, and the two of them have a genuine and heartfelt conversation. He openly acknowledges that Miles is the reason he has his daughter in his life and shares his admiration for him, emphasizing how much he loves being around him. He tries to offer some comfort to him, pointing out that bad things are gonna happen, but good things happen too, like when he became a father. However, when Miles asks why he never visited him, we can sense the deep sadness and heartbreak in his voice.
Why didn't you come see me?
I couldn't.
I wanted to be with you guys so badly. But this thing isn't what I thought it was.
It's completely understandable that he would feel this way after everything he's experienced throughout the movie, particularly feeling betrayed by those he trusted the most. After everything that's happened, Gwen and Peter B will need to make amends with him for all the lies, betrayal, and hurt they've caused him, as he didn't deserve any of it. All Miles ever did was help them change their perspectives and improve their lives in general. Peter B was in a real bad place, feeling hopeless and without a purpose in life, until Miles stepped in. With his help, Peter B was able to face his problems head-on, resulting in a happier and more fulfilling life. He got married, had a daughter, and built a loving family. Gwen, on the other hand, was lonely and heartbroken after losing her best friend. She had made a promise to never form close bonds again, essentially closing herself off from the world. But when Miles came along, his kindness, sweetness, and genuine nature made her break that promise. She fell in love with him not because he's Spider-Man, but because of who he is as a person, his caring nature and gentle spirit. Both of them owe Miles a great deal, and we'll have to wait and see how he reacts when he sees that Gwen formed a band of spider people just to rescue him. I think that he will probably be surprised but not that happy, but in general, I really like the dynamic between Peter B and Miles, and I really hope that they can work through their issues and reconcile in the upcoming movie.